Bob and Jacob Keffer, and we have a truck that looks like the BJ and the Bear truck from the TV show. Yeah.
So did you redo this yourself?
Partially. We got it out of Canada. The truck was originally blue, and from my understanding, it was blue, and he ordered it with a long frame with a Caterpillar engine in Canada, but it was made in Chillicothe like most of the Aerodynes. And I think he only kept the trucks for a couple years, and then it changed hands. And a guy by the name, I believe is Terry Vogler, got the truck, and he painted it with the BJ and the Bear paint scheme, which was what attracted it to me. I don't know what transpired to where he wanted to sell the truck, but it did change hands up there in Canada a few times.
What year is the truck?
It's a 92,
Okay.
an E model, which is a 112-inch sleeper, which is that's kind of like the main difference. I don't think everybody was happy with it. It's kind of got some low rear ends in it, so it doesn't get down the road real fast.
So were you hunting for a BJ and the Bear?
To be honest with you, I was working for somebody else at the time out in California, and he's the one. It was kind of like a father-son relationship, and I had an '83 cab over Peterbilt, and I was driving it for about 14 years. It was Omby Trucking was the name of it. I used to find trailers on the internet, truck paper. He would need trailers, and I would look up and find them. And then occasionally, of course, I'm looking. I mean, yeah, everybody has built models of this truck as a kid and watched the TV show and all that. And I'm no different than that.
It's a life-size model.
Yeah, exactly. I did see this truck on the truck paper one day. I called the number, and they said, well, the truck has been sold. But I went to my boss, and this is a kind of a long story. Is
That's
that all
okay.
right? And I went to my boss and said, hey, I couldn't find any trailers or whatnot in the conversation. I said, but I did find a truck that I really liked because we were thinking about getting the Peterbilt painted, which was about 10 grand. But then I saw this truck, and I said, well, I did see a truck I liked. He said, well, you've never wanted another truck. I've always passed on it because I like the cab over Peterbilt. He said, well, let me know, if you want a truck. I said, well, this one's sold. He said, if you find something you like, let me know and we'll try to work it out. We're Christians, and I swear to this day that God had something to do with it, because it wasn't like a couple days later, something told me to call back and see. And so I called back, and they said, well, we've been trying to get a hold of you. The deal fell through on the truck. Literally, my stomach just... I don't know, like you, not punched in the stomach, but like you couldn't breathe. And so I went to my boss and said, how serious were you on, getting me another truck? I says, because that deal fell through. That kind of left him a little speechless, because he was on the spot. And I said, what do they want for it? And it was $35,000 back in 2006, which it was kind of a lot for that truck.
For just the truck?
Just the tractor, yeah. It was a long night, and I went back, and he said, well, I assume he talked it over with his wife. He said, okay. So I was on a plane from California to Canada that night, the red eye, and the guy came, picked me up, and we went over and looked at it, and it was just, I've seen like across the highway, you'd see one that was painted like it or whatnot, but never up close. It's like, wow, this might happen. We got the truck and a lot of paperwork and everything
to get it across.
Yeah, a lot of stuff. It's got to conform. It was made in Chillicothe. We just found that out yesterday, and which I actually...
At Chillicothe.
Yeah.
We're leaving that part out of the story so far.
Yeah.
You were invited to the Kenworth factory yesterday for the first annual show.
Right. Well, I kind of knew, there was kind of a rumor around that all the Aerodynes were made in Chillicothe, because we had to find out whether it conformed to the U.S. standards to get it across the border. That took about a day. And then I drove it home. Surprised my sister in Pennsylvania. That's where I'm from. And I drove it through there on the way to California. And she was a big BJ and the Bear fan. So I surprised her. She didn't know anything about this. And I told her to send her over to the shopping center with an errand. And she pulled in there and saw the truck. And she's on the phone to me. Oh, there's a BJ and the Bear truck over here in Pennsylvania. You got to come see this. And I'm watching her from the restaurant, the Burger King, And then she turns and sees me, and then she does another freak out. So that was kind of cool. I got my uncle, and he rode with me out to California, and then we worked it out there. I pulled the other trailer, the 48-footer, and eventually we got the 53-foot spread, and it was just plain Jane. Working for him, I know he didn't want to put a lot of money into it. I mean, I felt I made a lot of money from lumping loads and whatnot. And it didn't bother me to spend money out of my own pocket on the truck, which was a lot. I mean, thousands and thousands of dollars, just buying fenders, stacks, whatever. And then we got the trailer, and I painted the trailer, which was like 10 grand. And, all in the back of my mind is like, okay, I'm working to have this truck someday.
It's an investment.
It is, but I mean, you never know. You could have a falling out with your boss, but I never thought that would happen. And
so, do you still work for him then? Is this?
No, he ended up getting cancer, and we got Jacob, and my wife got some money from some inheritance, and we were thinking about getting a house in California, but it's a dead end out in California with an older truck. So the writing was kind of on the wall. It just came to, like, we're going to have to move. So we found a house on the internet back in my hometown in Pennsylvania. And so I went to my boss and said, hey, we're thinking about moving. And the cancer was getting worse. So and he knew it was a dead end for this truck. And I said, hey, look, I only got a certain amount of money. He said, just give me a number. I said, I got like 25 grand. That's all I got. And he says, take it, truck and trailer, 25 grand. And yeah. He is a definition of California trucking. I mean, his dad started Carpinteria Motor Transport back in the, I don't know what it was, 50s, maybe even earlier than that. And then he had the side business, which was Omby, and there was only a few trucks that we run. He's a legend, really, out there in California. I mean, of course he's passed away, but I mean, it was a good time. I mean, I was with him probably for 20 years, and like I said, we worked this truck out there for 6 years, and then it was time to come back here. And then it's like, well, what are we going to do now? And I'm like, I didn't mind work. I mean, I really spent most of my time working for other people, which I don't mind. I mean, I have that kind of demeanor that I can serve somebody or I can work for somebody else. And so I just got a couple local jobs, and we decided to just keep this one for shows and everything because the weather. I'm kind of a little bit of a...
petrified of rain.
Yeah, a little bit of clean freak, I guess you could say.
Does it live inside,
yeah.
I assume?
Nope.
No, it just sits outside, yeah. Yeah, we don't have that kind of money, but... we keep it wiped off. I mean, I keep it toweled off.
Not we, I.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, right. It's one of the family. Like I said, I give thanks to God because it just came together. Same with him. I mean, he's...
Nope.
you mind if I say...
Go ahead.
He's adopted, and God worked that out, too. I mean, we got him through an agency. I don't know if you know how adoption works, but they have to pick you, the birth mother. And
you're like, gotta find someone who likes trucks. No.
Well, yeah. Hey, no lie. I mean, that's one of the reasons they picked us, because they said, hey, this guy's working guy. He's going to provide or whatnot. I don't know. People go through adoption years and years and years, but this was the first hit. We connected with her. She was 2 months pregnant, so we were only at 7 months, and then there he was. And,
wow.
And,
I interrupted his breakfast, too.
And how old are you now?
12 3/4.
12 3/4.
Yeah.
And how do you feel about trucks?
There's no word. It's just, it's going to happen. I'm going to drive. There's nothing to stop me from that. Hopefully nothing changes. I know something's going to happen, but hopefully the world gets better.
Wow. So what is your favorite memory with this truck so far?
Everything. It's just everything is a memory. Nothing about it stands out. Just everything stands out, I guess.
I think he gets a lot of thrills at the Chillicothe, the parade, and, when the kids want you to blow the air horn, or any time, his face lights up when he makes their day.
I know you're only 12. Have you gotten to drive it at all?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Tell her where. We were at...
Yeah, Louisville, Kentucky, out just doing circles in the parking lot.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Some other truck driver saw it. He's like, there's some kid out there in the truck doing donuts in a parking lot.
Well, what a way to begin. Thank you guys for sharing your story.
Well, thank you.
I'm sure there's plenty of other famous people.
Well, I mean, she is famous in her own right. I mean, you see her page and everything.
Well, I'm just glad I finally got to talk to you.
Yeah, well, you too. And your drawings, I mean, you're a real talent. Yeah.
Lee commented on that earlier and said that's one way to avoid having to polish.
I mean, that's an old California thing, but inevitably that's most things people see. You know, they see that painted wheel, and yeah, they just. I mean, I kind of like subtle details like that. You know, something that somebody has to look like if you look under here. And, I mean, you know, you kind of got to work to see